Top Gun Maverick wasn't just a sequel, it was a technological revolution that defied every Hollywood rule. From actors filming themselves mid-flight to Tom Cruise personally designing boot camp, from 800 hours of aerial footage to a heartbreaking AI resurrection, this film pushed boundaries nobody thought possible. Here are 15 unknown facts about Top Gun Maverick. Fact
He is
1.
100% prime time in love with you.
Kelly McGillis played Tom Cruise's love interest Charlie in the original Top Gun, and her character was crucial to that film's success. Meg Ryan portrayed Goose's wife Carol, providing emotional weight to the tragic death that drives the original's plot. Both actresses reprised their roles in fans' imaginations for decades, but when Top Gun Maverick entered production, neither woman was contacted. Director Joseph Kosinski confirmed to Insider that Kelly McGillis was never considered for returning because he didn't want every storyline constantly looking backward. Meg Ryan similarly wasn't considered. Instead, the script briefly mentions that Carol has died since the original film, and Charlie isn't mentioned at all. Jennifer Connelly was cast as Penny Benjamin, a character referenced but never seen in the original film. Kosinski wanted the sequel to move forward narratively rather than being consumed by nostalgia. The decision was controversial among fans who wanted to see these original characters return, but Kosinski believed the film needed to focus on Maverick's present relationship and future, rather than dwelling on his past romances. Only Val Kilmer's Iceman returns from the original cast besides Cruise, making his appearance all the more significant and emotionally powerful. Fact 2.
Maybe so, sir. But not today.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, Top Gun Maverick's release was delayed multiple times as theaters worldwide shut down. The film was originally scheduled for July 2019, but the complex action sequences caused initial delays, then the pandemic hit and the release was pushed repeatedly. Several major streaming companies saw an opportunity and approached Paramount Pictures with lucrative offers to purchase the streaming rights to Top Gun. Netflix, Apple TV Plus, and others made substantial bids to premiere the film directly on their platforms, bypassing theaters entirely. Paramount executives seriously considered these offers given the uncertain future of theatrical exhibition, but Tom Cruise personally intervened and shut down every single negotiation. Cruise gave direct orders that all streaming offers must be declined. He absolutely insisted the film should be released exclusively in theaters, period. Cruise believed Top Gun Maverick was specifically designed as a theatrical experience meant to be seen on the biggest screen possible with the loudest sound system available. He refused to compromise his vision even during cinema's darkest hour. The film finally premiered on May 27, 2022, becoming the second highest grossing film of that year with $1.5 billion worldwide. Cruise's stubborn insistence on theatrical release was completely vindicated. Fact 3.
You want to go, Rooster? I can go as low as you, sir, and that's saying something.
Miles Teller, who plays Rooster, suffered a serious medical emergency during filming that genuinely frightened his family. After completing one particularly intense flight sequence, Teller landed feeling extremely unwell. He was burning up with fever and started itching uncontrollably all over his body. Within minutes, Teller was covered head to toe in hives. The reaction was so severe he immediately sought medical attention. Doctors diagnosed him with blood poisoning contracted during the flight. The exact cause was never publicly specified, but something during that aerial sequence caused a dangerous infection to enter Teller's bloodstream. Blood poisoning can be life-threatening if not treated quickly. Teller revealed the incident on Late Night with Seth Meyers in June 2022, explaining how frightening it was to suddenly be covered in hives and running a high fever after what seemed like a routine flight. He later admitted that he deliberately left out certain details about the intensity of training and filming when talking to his mother because he didn't want her to worry. Glenn Powell similarly confessed he omitted specific details when talking to his mom about just how dangerous the production actually was. The physical toll of filming real aerial combat was no joke. If you want more videos like this, subscribe, like, and comment what movie you want us to cover next. Fact 4.
Mach 10? Let's give Mach 10.
In the opening sequence, Maverick pushes the experimental Dark Star hypersonic aircraft past Mach 10 against direct orders. As the aircraft screams past Ed Harris's character at impossible speed, the roof of a nearby shed is violently ripped off by the sonic force. It's a spectacular visual effect that emphasizes the aircraft's incredible power, but it wasn't planned. The roof of that shack next to Ed Harris wasn't supposed to lift off at all. The filmmakers only had one chance to shoot the sequence because of the complexity and cost. The Dark Star itself is only a non-flying mock mock-up, an actual plane being used in the shot was digitally cloned out and replaced with CGI. During the single take, the force created by the real aircraft generated enough wind to actually tear the roof off the shed. It was a complete accident, but the crew was incredibly lucky to capture it. The unplanned moment looks so perfect that most audiences assume it was meticulously designed. The fortuitous accident became one of the film's most memorable shots, proving sometimes the best moments in cinema happen when reality surprises you. Fact 5.
Wrap me in your aching arms. I see that you're...
In the film's final moments, Maverick and his love interest Penny hop into a vintage World War II P-51 Mustang and fly off into the sunset together. It's a beautiful, romantic conclusion that symbolizes Maverick finally finding peace. That P-51 Mustang isn't just a prop or a plane rented for the production. According to Forbes, it's actually one of Tom Cruise's personal aircraft from his private collection. Cruise is a licensed pilot who obtained his pilot's license in 1994. He owns multiple aircraft and flies regularly when not filming. During Top Gun Maverick's production, Cruise even flew a helicopter to transport director Joseph Kosinski back and forth to set on multiple occasions. Cruise performed 3 flights in a single day at one point during filming. His passion for aviation isn't just acting, it's genuine. Using his own vintage Warbird for the film's final scene adds another layer of authenticity to the production. Everything about Top Gun Maverick reflects Cruise's personal obsession with flying and his insistence on capturing real aviation rather than faking it with special effects. The P-51 moment is Tom Cruise literally flying his own plane to end his own movie. Fact 6.
Show me what you're made of.
Tom Cruise didn't just star in Top Gun Maverick, he personally designed an intense 3-month aviation training program to prepare the cast for filming inside real F-18 Super Hornets. The training wasn't optional. Every actor playing a pilot had to complete Cruise's grueling boot camp before being allowed near an actual fighter jet. The program taught actors how to handle extreme G-forces, avoid blacking out, control nausea, and maintain focus while their bodies were being subjected to forces regular humans never experience. The training was so physically demanding that almost every single cast member threw up at multiple points. According to producer Jerry Bruckheimer, only 2 people resisted the intense preparation without vomiting: Tom Cruise and actress Monica Barbaro. Everyone else lost their lunch repeatedly during training. The cast also had to learn cinematography, lighting techniques, and how to operate camera equipment because they'd be filming themselves during actual flights. They practiced operating cameras, adjusting lighting, touching up their own makeup mid-flight, and remembering dialogue while experiencing crushing G-forces. The training turned actors into cameramen, cinematographers, and fighter jet passengers simultaneously. Cruise's commitment to authenticity meant making his cast suffer through the same physical punishment he endures for every action sequence. Fact
So what's
7.
the story with you and Maverick? It seems like he's got you a little rattled.
It's none of your business.
Director Joseph Kosinski and Tom Cruise made an unprecedented decision. The actors would film themselves during real flights instead of using green screens or simulators. Cinematographer Claudio Miranda worked extensively with Navy technical advisors to design a revolutionary camera system. They fitted 6 cameras inside each F-18 Super Hornet cockpit, with some having only 2.5 inches of clearance. The cameras were positioned strategically, some pointing forward over the pilot's shoulder toward the instrumentation, others facing backward toward the actor's face. The equipment was so expertly installed it didn't affect the Navy pilots flying whatsoever, but the actors had to become their own camera crew. During flights, actors were responsible for turning cameras on and off at the right moments, checking lighting, touching up their own makeup, adjusting camera angles, handling sound equipment, and delivering dialogue, all while experiencing intense G-forces that made their faces distort and breathing difficult. Director Kosinski couldn't provide any direction during flights. He could only review footage after the jets landed, then send actors back up to reshoot if something went wrong. They shot more than 800 hours of aerial footage. The painstaking process was repeated over and over until it became muscle memory. Fact 8.
You with me? I don't like that look, man.
The real Navy pilots flying the F-18S with actors in the backseat faced an unusual requirement. They had to maintain visual continuity as if they were the character. The cameras mounted inside cockpits were pointed forward over the pilot's shoulder, meaning the back of the pilot's neck and helmet were clearly visible in many shots. To solve this continuity problem, every Navy pilot who flew with a specific actor had to wear that actor's exact helmet and patches. Before each flight, these military aviators had to visit the hair and makeup trailer for extensive preparation. One pilot admitted admitted he wasn't expecting the makeup process to take so incredibly long. The makeup artists carefully applied makeup to the back of his neck so it would match the actor's skin tone and appearance. The process was surprisingly time-consuming and meticulous. These combat-experienced Navy pilots found themselves sitting in makeup chairs getting primped like Hollywood stars before climbing into their fighter jets. The dedication to authenticity extended to every tiny detail visible on camera. Real military aviators became de facto stunt doubles and background actors simultaneously, maintaining the illusion that audiences were watching the characters actually flying. Fact 9.
Last thing. Who's the better pilot? You or me?
Val Kilmer reprises his role as Iceman in an emotionally devastating scene, but there's a heartbreaking backstory. In 2014, Kilmer underwent treatment for throat cancer including chemotherapy, radiation, and a tracheotomy. The procedures saved his life, but destroyed his voice. Kilmer lost the ability to speak normally. In his memoir, he wrote that speaking, once his joy and lifeblood, had become an hourly struggle. Tom Cruise personally insisted that Kilmer return for the sequel regardless. Cruise made Val's involvement a condition for making the film. The script was specifically written to incorporate Kilmer's real-life condition. Iceman also has cancer and communicates primarily through typing on a computer, but Kilmer does speak one brief line of dialogue, joking with Maverick about who was the better pilot. That dialogue was created using artificial intelligence. Kilmer partnered with tech company Sonantic in 2021, supplying hours of archival footage of his speaking voice. The company fed the recordings through algorithms and created an AI-powered synthetic voice model. While the voice is entirely computer-generated, it sounds remarkably like Kilmer before cancer stole his ability to speak. The reunion scene became Kilmer's final film role before his passing in 2025, making it profoundly bittersweet. Fact 10.
It's a request to lower the hard deck, sir, to practice a low-level bombing run per the mission parameters.
Filming inside real F-18, Super Hornets required unprecedented cooperation from the United States Navy. The military had never allowed anything like this before. Tom Cruise personally spent 15 months in intense negotiations with the U.S. Air Force and Navy to design a system for mounting cameras inside and outside fighter jets without compromising flight safety or performance. The military was initially skeptical that cameras could be installed without affecting the aircraft's aerodynamics, handling characteristics, and combat readiness. Cruise showed Navy officials YouTube videos of naval pilots with GoPros in cockpits to prove the concept could work. He convinced them that with proper engineering, cameras could be integrated without impacting flight operations. The Navy assigned technical advisors who pulled out gear and helped design mounting systems. The 15-month process involved constant testing, modifications, and safety evaluations. Every camera position had to be approved by Navy engineers to ensure it wouldn't interfere with ejection systems, flight controls, or pilot safety. The collaboration was so successful that the Navy eventually embraced the project. Navarre engineers devoted 1,000 hours specifically to maintaining the F-18S used during production. Principal photography took place at 5 different naval air stations around the country, with full military cooperation. Fact 11. Let me correct that. Tony Scott's death in 2012 nearly killed the sequel permanently. Development of a Top Gun sequel began as early as 2010 with Paramount Pictures asking Tom Cruise, producer Jerry Bruckheimer, and director Tony Scott to return. Tony Scott had been actively developing his own vision for the sequel when he tragically died by suicide on August 19, 2012 at age 68. The project immediately stalled. Nobody knew if the sequel could or should continue without Tony Scott, who had directed the original and defined its visual style. Peter Craig wrote an early draft of the screenplay in 2012, but production ground to a halt after Scott's death. The project remained in limbo for years. Development didn't resume until 2017, when Joseph Kosinski was hired to direct. Kosinski had previously directed Tom Cruise in Oblivion, and had to convince Cruise that a sequel could honor Tony Scott's memory, while moving in a new direction. The finished film is dedicated to Scott's memory. Top Gun Maverick exists as both a continuation of Cruise's character, and a tribute to the director who helped make Cruise a superstar 36 years earlier. Fact 12.
You fly for Top Gun, or you don't fly for the Navy ever again.
Tom Cruise spent years refusing to make a Top Gun sequel. In a 1990 Playboy interview, Cruise called a sequel irresponsible, dismissing the original as an amusement park ride rather than a realistic depiction of Navy life. The original film's main criticism was that it romanticized military service. Navy recruitment booths were set up in cinema lobbies during the film's 1986 run, and recruitment rates allegedly increased 500% following the premiere. Cruise felt uncomfortable contributing to military propaganda, but director Joseph Kosinski had a pitch. Producer Jerry Bruckheimer flew with Kosinski to Paris, where Cruise was filming. In Kosinski's words, Bruckheimer smartly didn't mention that Cruise didn't want to make the movie. Kosinski pitched Top Gun, Maverick not as an action sequel, but as a character-driven story. A drama with a giant action film wrapped around it. The pitch took just 30 minutes. Immediately after Kosinski finished explaining his vision, Cruise pulled out his phone, called the head of Paramount Pictures, and said he wanted to make another Top Gun. That 30-minute conversation reversed 3 decades of refusals and launched a billion-dollar phenomenon, WACT 13. Top Gun Maverick includes a beach football scene that deliberately mirrors the volleyball scene from the original 1986 film. Both scenes serve the same purpose, showing the pilots bonding as a team while providing audience eye candy. The scene was filmed once and appeared complete, but Tom Cruise reportedly wasn't satisfied with the first attempt. He insisted the entire football sequence be reshot. The cast had to return to the beach and film the entire scene again from scratch. No specific details were publicly revealed about what exactly displeased Cruise about the first version, or what changed in the reshoot, but given Cruise's obsessive perfectionism and his role as both star and producer, he had complete authority to demand reshoots regardless of cost or schedule. Impact. Glenn Powell was also nearly cast as Rooster instead of Miles Teller, before ultimately being given the role of cocky pilot Hangman. Powell later admitted he initially viewed Hangman as a Navy Draco Malfoy, an arrogant antagonist, before working hard to make the character more layered and sympathetic. Cruise's perfectionism extended to every aspect of production, regardless of how minor the scene might seem. Fact 14.
Phase 1 of the mission will be a low-level ingress attacking in 2 plane teams.
The script for Top Gun Maverick went through extensive development with multiple writers including Christopher McQuarrie, who helped with rewrites just before filming began. Early in the process, the writers incorporated input from a group of real F/A-18 pilots who provided technical consultation and authentic mission details. During these consultations, the pilots told stories about actual combat operations. One mission in particular captured everyone's imagination. In 1991, during the Gulf War, a real bombing mission codenamed Stroke 3 involved fighter pilots navigating extremely dangerous terrain at low altitude to strike a heavily defended target, then escaping through a narrow canyon while being pursued by enemy aircraft. The specifics of that classified operation became the direct inspiration for the climactic dogfighting sequence at the end of Top Gun. The film's final mission, flying through canyons at low altitude, bombing an impossible target, then getting pursued by enemy fighters, mirrors the real-life Stroke 3 mission. Navy technical advisors, including Captain Brian Ferguson, planned out all the aerial maneuvers based on actual combat tactics. The thrilling final battle isn't just Hollywood spectacle, it's based on something Navy pilots actually accomplished under combat conditions. Fact 15.
Only man to shoot down 3 enemy planes in the last 40 years.
Top Gun Maverick wasn't just successful, it shattered Tom Cruise's personal records and exceeded every possible expectation. The film grossed $1.5 billion worldwide, making it not only the second highest grossing film of 2022, but also the highest grossing film of Tom Cruise's entire career. This surpassed every Mission Impossible film, every Jack Reacher film, Jerry Maguire, Rain Man, and every other movie in Cruise's 4-decade career. The domestic box office, total of $719 million, represented Cruise's biggest debut ever. The film was named one of the top 10 films of 2022 by both the National Board of Review and the American Film Institute. It received 6 Oscar nominations at the 95th Academy Awards, including Best Picture and 1 Best Sound. The critical and commercial success vindicated Cruise's stubborn insistence on theatrical exhibition and his refusal to compromise his vision. Top Gun Maverick proved that audiences still hunger for practical filmmaking, real stunts, and authentic spectacle. In an era dominated by CGI superhero films, a 60-year-old Tom Cruise flying real jets became the biggest hit of his legendary career. The film stands as proof that practical filmmaking and old-school movie star charisma still matter. From AI resurrection to actors filming themselves at Mach speed, Maverick rewrote Hollywood's rules about what's possible. Tom Cruise's obsessive commitment to authenticity transformed a legacy sequel into a technological revolution and box office phenomenon. Sometimes, the only way to make the impossible happen is refusing to accept any other option. If you want more videos like this, subscribe, like, and comment what movie you want us to cover next.